Aside from my first trip, I can't say that I've ever had a bad one. Let me begin by giving a short rundown of past substances: alcohol, marijuana, caffeine plus ephedrine, Robitussin, Dramamine, nutmeg, codeine, salvia, Druid's fantasy, Genesis, Jimson weed, datura, opium, ecstasy, shrooms, and acid. The first weekend of my spring break I decided to try out some Jimson weed seeds. It fucked my world up. I couldn't read regular size print for a couple of days, but that's another story. Anyhow, this is relevant because the side effects of those seeds were shitty to say the least, and I didn't have any desire to experience more, but I still wanted to trip. There's rarely a time that I don't. So I read up all that I could on a couple sites to see if morning glory seeds produced any unwanted side effects. Well, they did. It seems that everybody that had a shitty time just ate the seeds raw, or soaked them in water. I decide to forego the shit and prepare my seeds as the FAQ had said. I got about 20 grams of the seeds from the local homebase. I felt they were a little pricey, so I only paid for half of them. I brought them back home and grinded them up in a coffee grinder, took me only a couple minutes. I soaked them in the naphtha, then using a funnel and a paper towel I filtered out my mix. After separating my seeds, I had to let them dry overnight on a plate. Do not use any heat to dry the seeds, heat breaks up the chemical structure of the LSAs. I then soaked the seed powder in a jar containing about 4 ounces of 100 proof vodka. Then I waited a couple days. The FAQ said to let the seeds soak for 3 days. I got antsy, so I drained out 1.5 ounces of the vodka on the second night and downed it. Boy, that shit had a bite. Maybe it's just due to me giving up drinking, or maybe it was the naphtha, I don't know. Well, I waited for a while that night and nothing happened, so I went to bed. On the last Sunday night of my spring break I decided to hang at a friend's place. One of the guys asked me if I'd go buy them some 3.2, so I decided what the hell, I'll go get my seed vodka and drink that with them. I bought the beer and grabbed my seed vodka. Mind you, I have little doubt in my mind that the seeds wouldn't work again. I just thought that I would drink some nasty vodka and chill for a bit. I separated out the rest of the vodka, about 2.5 ounces, and made a screwdriver. One of the other friends busted out a pipe and began smoking, so I decided to take a hit too. Then it began. I have little tolerance to MJ, so I wasn't surprised to notice that I was a bit high, but it didn't stop there. After a bit I felt damn stoned. At this point I thought that it was just my weak tolerance to MJ, but my vision started to get a little weird. I can't explain it, and I don't know how much is due to the weed and how much is due to the seeds, but in hindsight I think I was just trippin'. The thing is, I never get full-on visuals. Even my night of 7 hits of Fry didn't produce any full-on visuals, things just kinda look weird. I can't really explain it, I mean patterns move and shift kinda. But I get those, to a lesser degree, all the time. Well, in my state I suddenly had the realization that I was alone. Sure, I was with some of the guys, but I don't have that real connection with anybody. I started to feel incredibly sad and the thought occurred to me, maybe now I'll have a bad trip. In my fucked up mind that sounded kinda cool. A friend of mine has them all the time, and in a morbid way he kinda likes them. The idea of having a bad trip actually picked me up a bit, so in a roundabout sort of way I pulled myself out of this funk. I just kinda let go and slithered out of the chair I was in, and onto the floor and stared at shit for a while. I enjoyed moving my hands around in front of my face and was talking very little. This happens to me when I get fucked up, I don't talk, I just make sounds. Some guy was asking me what I was experiencing, but I just really didn't want to talk to him, so I didn't give any real answer. All this happened within an hour and a half, then I started to regain some of my senses. The guy whose room I was in, was tired and wanted to crash. It was after all 1 a.m. I sat up and with what little control I had at the time, I got up and drove back home. I don't condone driving when fucked up, so I guess I'm a hypocrite. Upon reaching my place I grabbed some bread and jelly and turned on some Floyd and the computer. Eating was incredible. It felt really good to eat all that stuff. I dunno, it's kinda weird. Trying to surf the internet in this state, or do anything really, was hard, so I gave up and crawled into bed with the division bell still on. The onset of my experience was weird. I guess I would liken it to the beginnings of a shroom trip with a few good rips off a bong. I wish I hadn't taken the one hit off my friend's pipe because I wanted to experience the LSAs by themselves. So I'm not sure what I felt was due to what. But the way I felt when I got back home was euphoric. Much like I feel on the upside of a shroom trip. I can't liken it to acid, except for that feeling that you can do anything, that anything is possible. But I seem to always get that existential feeling when I trip. I had a great time though, and was left feeling good the next day. I'm eager to try it again, but this time a little earlier in the day and without any weed. If this next time pans out, it seems that people would pay about $10 for some of this stuff. It's at least as powerful as shrooms, and that price would be half the price of said substance where I live.